Hey YouTube, so I have my mechanic special Chevy Cruze for sale here. Needs the engine to be rebuilt, which I'll get into more about that in a second. So it has a lot of customizations on it too. You can see you got the yellow, I believe those are LED fog lights down there that I added, and then HID for the headlights, pure white. And when you come over here, you can see the corner marker, custom corner marker. And if you come around this way, you can see just a little bit of minor damage here. The fender, the bumper. I was told by a body shop you can get the fender, the bumper, and have it painted and blended in for about $500. You're not going to get this kind of honesty if you go to buy a car at any car lot, so that's why it's good if you buy from me. So here is all the different upgrades that I've done with ZZPerformace. So I have the ZZPerformace cold air intake. I have a heat shield to go with it in the trunk. It's already painted, ready to go, and I'll show that when we get to it. I have an oil catch can here that helps keep the engine cleaner. And you can't tell by looking at it, but this is a ZZPerformace ported intake manifold. What else? So if you want to come around this way, right here, normally you would have your catalytic converter there, but this is the a catless downpipe from ZZPerformace there. And if you come in closer here, you can probably see that orange pipe down there. These intercooler pipes have been painted, and it has the intercooler package from ZZPerformace. You can probably see the transmission radiator right here. It's been moved because that's part of the process when you do an intercooler. So it's got that MSD coil pack, and down in here, you can't really see it, but it has a colder thermostat of 176 degrees instead of 221. That's from a Chevy Bolt. The reason for that is because the Chevy Cruze is known from 2011, 2014 to have a coolant leak about every 3,000 miles. One of the plastic parts in the cooling system will fail, it will crack, and it will leak. But since I put that colder thermostat, that was, I want to say, about 4 years ago. I've had zero coolant related issues ever since I did that. Also, this is a 15 psi radiator cap for the reservoir here. The original one is 20 psi, so that helps too. That way the system is under less pressure, and that helps also to reduce parts failures and leaks in the cooling system. Let's see. Oh, I also did the big 3 wiring upgrade. So I have this nice big wire here from the battery to the alternator, I believe. There's a ground cable here that goes from the engine to the frame. So the electrical system is better because of that. And if you ever plan to do a custom car stereo, if you want to add a subwoofer or something like that, that's going to benefit that as well. Let's see, what else do we have going on here? You can probably see the way it's idling right now. It's kind of shaking. Cylinder number 3 on the engine is the one that got damaged. Not from these upgrades, but from doing a performance tune from ZZPerformace. Turbo Tim at ZZPerformace did not know what he was doing, and unfortunately he damaged this engine. Now, there are other Chevy Cruzes out there that have all these upgrades, and they can go 200,000-300,000 miles. There's even other Chevy Cruzes out there that have performance tunes from other companies, such as Bad News Racing, without any issues. So, what you got to do is rebuild this engine with some new pistons and piston rings, or just swap an engine into it that is remanufactured, or maybe a used one from a junkyard. And you can keep these performance parts on here, and you can still go a very long time. Just don't put a tune on there from somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. That's how the engine damage happened. The transmission's still in great shape, still shifts like brand new. The last time I changed the fluid was at 60,000 miles. It's 101,000, I believe. It is due for another change, but it's in good shape. The coolant's nice and clean. I always keep up with all my fluids, all my maintenance. I do my own oil changes. If you try to look up the history on this vehicle, you're not going to find any service records because I do my own oil changes. But I use Mobil 1 full synthetic every 6,000 miles or 1 year, whichever comes first. I have taken very, very good care of this car. It's just, unfortunately, Turbo Tim and ZZPerformace ruined it. So here's something that you're not going to find on any other Chevy Cruze out there. Come over here. The seats weren't comfortable to me, so I added they call it Rostra lumbar kit, and I took apart the seat and installed it. You'll see right here, I even put labels. Lumbar inflate, deflate, and that makes the lumbar go in and out. And you can see that the seat's not in terrible shape. I just have this cover on here because leather gets hot and cold, and so that's just here for comfort. But the seat's not in terrible shape or anything. And yeah, so that makes the seat a lot more comfortable with that lumbar adjustment that no other Chevy Cruze has. And let's go to the trunk and I'll show you a couple parts that I'm including with the vehicle. So I have an extra valve cover already painted spa blue. The other one was painted the wrong color. It's a little bit off, doesn't match the rest of the vehicle. The Chevy Cruze is known every, I don't know, 25, 50,000 miles for the diaphragm to go bad in the valve cover. Valve cover costs about $40. So I have a spare one that's ready to go whenever that does fail. And then also, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I have the heat shield that goes with the cold air intake from ZZPerformace. I also have the grommets that go with it, and stickers and such. So here's that heat shield already painted spa blue, ready to go. The only reason I never put it on is, me personally, I like to keep the heat shield off, and I like to be able to keep an eye on the air filter to see when it gets dirty. That's just my personal preference. But if you want to dress up the engine bay, make it look nicer, well then you can add this on there. And spare tires still here in the trunk as well. And now we'll show the interior and we'll take it for a virtual test drive. If you want to get in the passenger seat, we'll go for a ride here. All right, so here you can see we have this, I forget if they call it true orange or real orange, and then spa blue, and there's also orange on the speaker rings. So this is a 2LT trim, but it's almost an RS because I added the fog lights. And if you put an RS front bumper, since the front bumper has a little damage on it anyways, then it will make it more like an RS, and you can add RS badges. It also has a sunroof. A 2LT trim already comes with remote start, which the remote start still works. And the 2LT comes with a leather, but a 2LT does not necessarily come with navigation. The previous owner, who was the original owner from day one, he added the navigation radio, and I believe he added the push button start. I don't think that comes standard either. So next we just need to take it for a little test drive. You want to keep the video going, or you want to do a second one? Okay. So yeah, the service traction light, service traction control is on, and stability, and that is because of the misfire on cylinder number 3 and a low compression. You see the check engine lights flashing. So yeah, we'll take it for a little test drive here. A lot of times it drives okay as long as you don't put a load on the engine. like turn on the air conditioning, or if you give it like 3/4 throttle or full throttle. If you drive it nice and easy, it's fine, but it's just fine for now temporarily. Really, it needs the engine rebuilt or replaced. But everything else is fine. And these Chevy Cruzes are still super expensive. They're still selling for around 10, 11,000, and that's without all these extra upgrades that I did to it. So even though you have to spend a few thousand maybe, depending on what deal you can find on an engine and someone to install it, and you may decide you want a paint job too, you can get a really, really good high-end. There's the cheaper Mako paint jobs, but then there's the more expensive ones. And the more expensive ones from Mako, around $2,000 for a paint job, and around $500 to fix the front bumper and the fender. So even though you have to spend that, this vehicle is still a really, really good deal, because they're selling 10, 11,000, and that's without all these upgrades. Even after you spend that amount of money, you're still going to come out on top. But unfortunately, I am a busy college student right now, and that's my main focus. I'm not working, I'm just focusing on school, and I just don't have the money right now, or the time either, to keep working on this vehicle. So my loss can be your gain. And if you want to like focus here and stuff. All right, let's give it a little gas. See, this is at about half throttle. See, at half throttle, it still has some power and drives no problem. All that wind noise because I have the sunroof open. It's a pretty nice day out, and I'm trying to avoid having the AC on, but I might turn the AC on the way back just to show the difference in how it affects the vehicle. And even though I have the catless downpipe from ZZPerformace, and then I have the high flow catted mid pipe, the exhaust is still pretty quiet because I still have the original factory resonator and factory muffler. A loud exhaust in this car just wouldn't sound good, in my personal opinion. Let's see what else. Oh, and then there's also this like spacer, or some people call it an oxygen sensor extender, on the high flow catted mid pipe, and that is to keep the check engine light off. Yeah, and if you go to either rebuild this engine or swap another engine into this vehicle, I highly recommend that you swap over the colder thermostat that I put on here onto the engine that you swap into here, because that's going to help keep you from having coolant parts failures and coolant leaks that the first generation Chevy Cruze is known for. All right, let me go ahead and turn the AC on here for the second part of the test drive. AC on. Go ahead and close the sunroof. Get rid of that wind noise. Oh, now you can hear the AC. AC on all the way. Maybe then it'll start acting up a little bit. Oh yeah, now it's smoking a lot behind me too. Probably because I cranked up the AC. Yeah. That's the other thing this car does. Since the engine has been damaged, it likes to smoke a lot out of the exhaust pipe. Still seems to have power this time though. Like I said, it's pretty random. Another thing is, just before I got that tune from ZZPerformace, I had just put not myself, but I had somebody install a brand new Dorman turbo. Now if you swap another engine into this, it may already come with a turbo, but since this turbo is brand new, you can keep that as spare parts. Turbo on the Chevy Cruze, they go out anywhere around 50 to 100,000 miles, maybe a little bit more. This one went bad 90 something thousand miles. Brakes are still in good shape too. I smell the exhaust right now too. Alright, let's go outside the vehicle and you can probably see the tailpipe smoking today.
Barely see.
So is the camera not picking it up that much? Yeah, it mostly only smokes when you turn the air conditioning on, or if you floor it, like I said before, if you put a load on the engine. That's when it starts acting up. So if you want to buy my Chevy Cruze or think about buying my Chevy Cruze, you can test drive it here in my neighborhood like I just did. You just can't take it on the main road because I don't have insurance on it right now, but also don't take it on the main road because it may not handle high speeds that well. But yeah, you can test drive it at low speed, no problem. And then if you decide you want to buy it, you're probably going to want to have a car trailer behind a truck to take it home, or have a tow truck to take it home to your house, and until you have the engine swapped or rebuilt.